Living from our heart, living from our core, living from our power, we all get more. We are powerful.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Transformation Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I'm also one of the publishers at Powerful You Publishing. And I'm so grateful to be here bringing this summit to you because that means I get to introduce you to some really amazing women who are doing some really great good in this world. And today we're going to be talking with Becki Lanham, and you'll learn more about her as we talk to her. I like her topic so much, finding love within. Redefining self-care as a practice in self-love and worthiness, which all of those words is like these buzzwords. It's like, wow, they get me so excited. So I can't wait to talk to Becki. However, I'm going to read a brief introduction of Becki and then we'll start talking with her. Becki Lanham joyfully serves women throughout her holistic practice, nestled in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. She offers an array of services, including Orvigo abdominal therapy sessions, health coaching, birth and bereavement doula services, as well as Orvigo therapy, self-care classes, and other feminine-focused workshops. Her ever-growing passion for sharing holistic women's wellness services and education with others has led her to her most recent venture, expanding her education to become certified as both a fertility awareness educator and sexual and reproductive health educator. And Becki, I'm so excited to talk with you today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Terrific. You know, I do love this topic, finding love within, because it is so very important in self-care, and especially in the times that we're in, maybe even more important than ever. But, you know, to get to that point, I'd love for you to talk about your own personal journey to our audience and what led you to this passion that you have for helping other women.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I've always been really called towards a nurturing caregiver role, and kind of drawn towards that healthcare provider role, even as a little kid. But my real drive to work with women specifically has stemmed from a lot of my own experiences, really terrible, painful periods, child loss, postpartum depression, healing from sexual assault, and really just not feeling supported or heard within allopathic OB care. And it's interesting because I had always felt that these past traumas or physical pains that I was feeling were just burdens I was destined to bear because I was born a woman. And as I began to heal, both emotionally heal, and then have those physical symptoms and pains subside, the truth really manifested itself, and I became so empowered within my body's own ability to heal and reclaiming my body for my own for the first time in a long time, if ever. And I just couldn't believe it had taken me so long in my life to find that empowerment within myself. And I couldn't believe I hadn't received that knowledge from my elders, from other people within my community, that I had to really dig deep and discover that for myself. So from those experiences, from that healing transformation that I had, I just had this drive and passion to share this inherent knowledge with every woman. I feel like that is our birthright. And I can kind of see now that those experiences, there's a lot of purpose within the pain, and that I've been divinely called to this path. And for as where I am now, I'm really just in a constant state of surrender and openness, just following guidance and where to go next. Where am I most needed to be able to share the information, to hear other women, to be present with other women within their process, and utilizing my experiences to show up in a way that not very many people show up. So that's sort of the past, and then where I am now, and of course vision for future is just wherever I'm led.
That's awesome. So do you find that as you started becoming more in tune with your own, body and your own, needs, really, like this is how I handle this. Oh, that's why that happened. As you started learning more about that, did you then find that there were more people out there that also were doing kind of the same thing? It's like it's a personal journey, but it is a collective journey as well. Have you found that there is more help for us than we knew?
I would say yes. It's almost like tapping into an underground spring, an underground well. And once you're there, there's so much abundance. It's just a matter of getting to that space, especially when all of our lives were told or shown this is the way to follow. And you see your mother and your grandmother and your sisters, the female tribe is following this same path, and it's hard and painful to break from that. But once you do find that help and that support, you're really flooded with abundance. I like that
Yeah.
you said that. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, there are trailblazers and pioneers everywhere. And then we find out, oh, somebody was doing this 20, 30, 40 years
Yeah.
ago. Who knew? This is
Yeah.
great stuff. Yeah.
Where have I been?
Once you start learning, it's like, wow, there's so much. You realize how much you don't know and how many people you didn't realize. So I love that stuff. So let's talk about this title that you chose, Finding Love Within, Redefining Self-Care as a Practice in Self-Love and Worthiness. So what does that mean, self-care as a practice in self-love and worthiness?
Really, what I'm saying when I say that is I'm talking about self-care that is powered by strong intention. And it's interesting, you had said, you kind of felt the buzz of all these words of this title. And self-care has really gotten the term self-care has gotten so much attention lately and has truly become a marketing buzzword. You see it everywhere on magazines, everywhere on products. And when I'm saying that self-care is a practice in self-love and worthiness, I'm saying it's not a task on a to-do list. And it's certainly not something you can purchase. It's a feeling coming from yourself back to yourself, a feeling of love. I kind of liken that, the cultivation of love that you feel and warmth. If you just can close your eyes and think of someone you love very dearly, that could be a partner, maybe a parent or a grandparent, a child, maybe even a pet, like your cute, cuddly little kitten, that when you think of that being, you just begin to beam and radiate joy and love. And it so easily flows from yourself to that person or that animal. That is the feeling that true self-care gives to us. Only it's coming from our hearts and looping back to feed and nourish our own souls. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So then, for instance, if somebody says, "Oh, my self-care is taking a really long hot bath," or "My self-care is going and getting a massage," how does that feed into what you're talking about?
So basically, the action doesn't matter. If the intention behind getting a massage, if the intention behind soaking in that warm Epsom salt bath is, you know what, I'm worthy and deserving of my time and attention. I'm worthy and deserving of that radiating love that so easily pours from me to others. I'm worthy of receiving that. If that's the intention behind those actions, then of course it's self-love. But if the actual action is not what's fueling that, right? So like really bottom line, it doesn't matter how much time, energy, effort, money you're feeding into these self-care practices. You could go to the best massage therapist in the world and pay buku bucks. But if you're not cultivating that warm feeling of self-love and opening and receiving that with open arms, then it's not self-care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what if somebody says, well, self-love, that seems kind of narcissistic, or how do I give myself love? I'm not used to giving myself love. I'm so used to loving other people, but not me.
Mhm.
What do you say to somebody like that that thinks it's maybe not as important as, I know you think it is,
Mhm.
and I agree.
Yeah, well, the reason why that's so important is because when we open ourselves in that way and start to shift the parameters of what self-care means to us, when we put ourselves on the top of the totem pole, not only are we able to radiate down love to those beneath us on the totem pole, those that we love, and we have so much more time to give, right? It's
Mm,
not selfish because there's more of us, there's more vitality to share with the world. But it also, again, is opening that door for inner healing and opening the door for us to, and this just comes naturally. I don't even feel like this is something you need to work hard on, but as you cultivate that space of self-love, you start to rewrite these untruths, these inner stories that we have told ourselves for years, that I am not enough, I am not worthy. And that faux truth that I've heard so many times within myself, and
mm,
I see time and time again with women walking through the door of my office, those faux truths manifest into reality, manifest into dysfunction, and are oftentimes the root cause of our physical, emotional, spiritual imbalances. So,
mhm,
for example, let's say you're trying to heal from a physical ailment, but you have an unwillingness to give yourself the time and attention that you need in that space of love and compassion because you feel that it's selfish, you're not worth that time. How can we possibly even step forward into healing if we don't feel that we're worthy of living a healthy, joyful, and vibrant life? Right? Does that make sense?
absolutely.
And as we're repairing that connection with ourselves, healing just comes naturally. And like I said, that we become a larger vessel for love. We become a larger vessel for life. And of course, we're going to share that vitality with those around us and the world. So it's not selfish at all. I feel it's almost, of course, it's a gift to ourselves. But when we start to gift to ourselves first, we naturally contribute more and more substance to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're all connected. And yeah, if we take care of us, we have more to give. Absolutely. So, what would you say then? And maybe this feeds into what we just talked about, but what is a common misconception that people have about self care? And does that, if they, how does it hold back maybe their healing, their own healing process?
Mm-hmm. And it totally feeds in, like it does feed into what we were just talking about. And I think the biggest misconception that I see is when we find that there are things that we need healing within, when we find things, when we're on the verge of transformation and we're working towards change, when we start to view ourselves as damaged goods or as broken, something that needs mending, then we kind of begin to lean and rely on self-care as a tool to fix our brokenness.
Mm,
And the problem with that mentality is we really can't hold the kindness, love, and self-compassion that we need to be able to move forward in our healing process, to move forward within that transition. If all of our self-worth is wrapped up in the whole or completed future self, right? I see it all the time, like, if only I could get pregnant, I'd be worthy and deserving of a happy, fulfilled life. Or if I could lose these last 20 pounds, or if I could have sex without pain, or, have the energy to care for my children. It just goes on and on where we're thinking about ourselves, suddenly we become the to-do list, right? Our being is the to-do list. We are the task to complete, to fix. And meanwhile, the pause button on our lives has been pressed because we can't live presently with who we are now. It's so important that in these instances, when there's this misconception view of ourselves, and then utilizing self-care as a tool to fix brokenness, it's so important that we redefine that self-care and really prioritize finding worthiness and love within ourselves now. And we can simultaneously hold that love and compassion for ourselves and joy for ourselves and our life in this moment, while still opening the door to move forward into healing and change. So I think that's probably the thing I see the most is, look at all this brokenness, I need to fix this. And if we stay in that mentality, that meant we never move past it, because after the pregnancy, after the baby, after the pain is gone, there's always the next thing, the next broken piece that needs mended.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely true. And I think that a lot of people do get stuck in that. They get stuck in that one piece that's not working, maybe even ignoring all of the beautiful stuff that is working in their lives and is, honoring them and their purpose and their vision and all of those beautiful things. Yeah, that's so true. And it's hard not to, by the way, because, like in this moment, this is what we're feeling, but it's a journey. We're evolutionary beings. Our life is a continuous, ongoing flow. And so it's, working within that ebb and tide and allowing yourself to feel the feelings while still holding the vision is so important. Absolutely true. If someone's listening to this right now and they're saying, well, you know what, I do think I have some stuff to fix. Like you said, I think you have to, yes, work on it if you feel like you want to work on it or fix something. But what would you tell them? Like, what is the takeaway that they should get from that? How really should they focus on that?
Well, it's interesting because I think you just answered the question before you asked the question in saying and recognizing that, self-care, self-love, our healing process, it's not this pre-mapped out path with a really specific destination endpoint, right? Like, whoop, okay, I'm healed, yay, we're done. It's this constant and continuous practice. So just like in the relationships within our lives with friends and family and loved ones around us, that is we're continuously in a dance, in a movement of growth and change and deepening of layers. And we have to view our relationship with ourselves in that way also. It's an ever evolving process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just like you said. And I think too that just one other thing is recognizing that we can't push through and force change, transformation, or deepening of that relationship with ourselves. Like you said, you're in the moment and things are hard, and it sounds amazing to love myself with as much joy and compassion as I love my son. It sounds great to say, oh my gosh, I'm so worthy of abundance and amazing things. But we can't force ourselves to be there no more than we can force a relationship with another person to be in a place where it's not ready to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that change and transformation within ourselves and with others happens is, again, with that open arms and open heart, just a gentle, kind, nurturing, it's safe to move forward when you're ready, permission to go at your own pace. And that is the sacred space where transformation, change can happen, and where that relationship with yourself can really deepen and find that level, right?
Yeah, beautiful. So Becki, this is great. I love everything that you said. For anyone that's listening right now, do you have any just final thoughts, tips, suggestions for them?
Sure. I think that, self-love is hard to jump into right away sometimes. We all have our own stories and we all have our own history, our own traumas. And again, it sounds great to be striving for that, but it can feel really big and overwhelming. So I think a great tip is to instead, if you need a little stepping stone, to start utilizing gratitude first.
Hmm.
So to start cultivating gratitude within our lives, it's a lot more familiar to most of us, and it doesn't hold that heavy emotional weight that self-love and worthiness holds. And I'm just going to tell a quick little story. Stories of and memories of my grandmother are really rising to the surface lately because she just passed away last month. And it just makes me think, when I'm thinking about gratitude, I think about her. She was such a wonderfully compassionate person. And I remember one time sitting on her back porch, and we would have these deep conversations about meaning of life and death. And we were in one of those conversations, and she said, Becki, for decades, I have kept a gratitude journal. And every day for many decades, at the end of the day, she wrote down 5 things in which she found joy and was grateful for within that day. Every day, even in the hardest times after the passing of my grandfather, her husband, when she was diagnosed with cancer and working through those treatments, every day she sought out and found light and joy in life through gratitude. And that was just so inspiring for me at the time, years ago, when she was telling me this. And so I started my own practice of a gratitude journal. And what I found that it did for me was it kept me very mindful throughout the day. And as I began to open myself to gratitude for things around me, I found that I was really appreciating and grateful for myself and my contributions to the world and the way that I interacted with people and situations around me, which helped deepen my relationship with myself. So that is really a practice that I recommend to clients frequently. It's a really great practice to start. And if that even feels a little bit overwhelming, I do have a free gratitude meditation that I have offered to any of the listeners today on my website, which is handswithheart.net. And if all you can manage to do today, you really want to work on this path towards changing and redefining your self-care as a practice of self-love and worthiness, but really taking any action seems like too much, you can just sit in a chair or lay down, go to the website, download the meditation, and it's a really easy way to start to step forward if you're feeling like you need some more inspiration or just some guidance, feel like you need to have someone with you as you're moving forward into that.
Beautiful. I love that. And so what is your website again? One more time.
Sure. It's handswithheart.net.
Okay, awesome. Love that. I'm going to get that gratitude journal. Gratitude is hugely important to me, or your meditation rather, hugely important. I actually wrote 2 books with intentions and gratitude in mind, and it really matters, absolutely matters. And some people might only be able to think of one thing each day. I know your grandma did 5, which is amazing. And I know some days I have like 20, and other days it's like it's a tough day. If I could just think of 1 or 2, I'm feeling pretty good. So and it helps. It always helps raise our vibration and get
Powerful
that
tool.
going. Very powerful stuff for self-love, self-care, all of it. Becki, this has been great. I so appreciate you. I love the information that you shared. So grateful to you to be a part of this journey with us, and your story in the book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women, is awesome. I love your story. It's going to help people and encourage them and inspire them really in their own life. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And listeners, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking seriously your own self-care, because you matter. You matter in this world, and you matter so much because your energy does go out to everyone else that you're around in your own household, in your community, in the world. So taking care of yourself, like Becki said, really matters. So do that. Use some of the practices that Becki talked about today. Just start little by little, and it's amazing what happens, to build upon that. So thank you for doing that. Remember, this book, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women, is coming out. It is 20 stories by some really amazing women. You'll love reading the stories. If you go to our website on launch day, which is transformation-book.com, we'll guide you to the page on Amazon to buy the book, and then you bring your Amazon receipt number back to our website, plug it in, and you will have access to more than 35 gifts from our authors and partners. So this is great stuff. I know that you'll not only enjoy the book, you'll love these gifts as well. So it's really great stuff. The launch is on October 20th. That is the day to do that, transformation-book.com. In the meantime, I wish you all a beautiful day. And again, thank you, Becki. Thank you, audience, for being here. Bye for now.